Ooh, hey, okay. All right, scholars, today we are working on Listen and Respond for Green and Purple. This is your story, How to Babysit a Grandma. Go ahead and write down your name at the top, and then it's either the 23rd or 24th, depending on your group color, so make sure you check the board and fill that in. And then fill in the title, so How to Babysit a Grandma. Boom. All right, so then it says, as college-ready readers, we always use college-ready sentences. We always support our ideas with evidence from the text. Preview. Readers always collect clues before they get started reading. Look at the front and back covers of the book before you start reading or listening to the story and fill in the chart below. What do you think this book is going to be about, and why do you think this? I think this book will be about blank. I think this because blank. Another thing this book might be about is blank. I think this because blank. So let's go ahead and check that out now. So on the front, I see a young girl and I see a grandma and a dog. They look like they're hanging out for the day. Then on the back, just some other books about how to babysit a grandpa, how to surprise a dad, how to catch a Santa. So I think this book will be about how to do something. And I think this because I see how to in the title. So then you're going to come up with something different than what I have. And you're going to put it right here. So these two cannot be the same thing. I noticed a lot of us are just writing the same thing twice. That's completely a waste of time. If you've already written it here, you definitely don't need to write it here. You're just taking up time and effort that you could be using on other things, and it's not helping anybody. So make sure that these two do not match. They cannot be the same. They need to be different. These two answers, however, should be pretty similar because we only have two things that we can pull from. We can pull from the front of the book and we can pull from the back of the book. We cannot pull from inside the book because we haven't read the book at this point, correct? Now we're ready to get started. So let's look and see at the first thing that we're looking for. Characters and setting. Readers know that understanding the characters and setting of a story will help them to better understand what's going on in the story. So here I'm listing my characters, and here what do I know about them? I'm thinking inner traits and outer traits. Remember, inner traits are things on the inside. We can only tell by what the character says, what they do, how they act. And then outer traits are things on the outside that we can see by looking. Oh, I can see you're tall. I can see you're short. I can see that you have glasses. I can see that you're a boy, you're a girl. I can see that you have short hair, long hair, right? So keep that in mind as we read. Let's go ahead and see how to babysit a grandma. When you babysit a grandma, if you're lucky, it's a sleepover at her house. What should you do when you get to her door? Put on a disguise and say, guess who? Knock with a secret knock that only she knows. Tap, tap, tappity tap. If you like cats, meow. If you like dogs, bark. If you like goldfish, When she opens your door, shout, Grandma, your babysitter's here. All right. Hug your mom and dad goodbye and say, don't be sad, I'll be home soon. Now tell your grandma all the fun things you have planned. How to keep a grandma busy. Go to the park, bake snickerdoodles, have a costume parade, go to the park to feed the ducks, do yoga, look at family pictures, go to the park to swing, play hide and seek, make goofy hats, go to the park to slide, have a dancing puppet show, read stacks of books, go to the park to take photos, do puzzles, play cards. As the babysitter, you need to let her choose. Of course, she'll want to go to the park. What to do at the park. Slide down the bumpy slide and the twirly slide. If she's feeling brave, try the tallest slide of all. Push your grandma on the swing, but not too high. Remind her to pump her legs. Feed the ducks. Show her how to help the shy ones get some food. Don't forget, good babysitters always say 5 more minutes before it's time to go. All right, so I'm going to pause right here because I think we have some characters. We don't know this girl who's talking to us. We don't know her name. So what I'm going to do is write narrator. And then an outer trait that I can tell is that she's a girl, right? And then an inner trait is that she is very creative. She's come up with all of these interesting ideas for them to do together at their time. And then we have the grandma. So I want you guys to come up with traits for grandma. So you should have at least 2 filled in here. And then come up with another character and 2 traits for the character based off of what you've read. So then what is the setting of the story? The setting of the story is blank. How does the setting match what is happening with the characters? So remember, the setting of the story is always a place. If you cannot go there, then you have this answer wrong. So if you put something like, she did this because she had a friend, that's not a place. I can't go there. That's not a setting. So you have the wrong answer. So you need to change it. Make sure that whatever you write for setting is a place. A lot of us are getting a little confused with how does the setting match. So just think about, where do grandmas and grandkids usually hang out? Do they hang out? I guess they hang out at lots of different places, right? So honestly, many different settings would fit for this story. But think about things like, if you have a teacher and students, would you put them at home in bed, or like at like an amusement park with their parents? That doesn't really make sense, right? Because usually teachers and students hang out at school. So we're trying to figure out what is the best setting and why did the author pick that setting. So think about it like that. Try to think like, oh, teachers and students hang out at school. Moms and dads live at home with their kids, so they would probably be home at the house, right? If I'm going to go swimming, it wouldn't make sense that the setting would be the roller skating rink, right? That doesn't really make a lot of sense because you can't swim at a roller skating rink. So that wouldn't be a very good setting for a story about going swimming. So try to think, where is this happening and how does it match? Where are they at and how does that match? All right, let's see what happens next. Back at home, plan some more fun. How to play with the grandma. Grab 2 microphones and sing a duet. You might want to try You Are My Sunshine or Happy Birthday, or make up a new song together. Line up all her shoes to play shoe shop. If your grandma likes fancy things, decorate her with ribbons, bows, and stickers. Shout ta-da when you hand her a mirror. Soon it's time for dinner. Your grandma may be a yummy cook, but share your tricks to make everything taste even yummier. Add sprinkles to anything. Well, almost anything. Arrange the food to make silly faces. Shut your eyes as you take each bite and say, All right, let's go ahead and make some predictions here. So a prediction is when readers guess what might happen next in the story, okay? So what do you think might happen next and why do you think this? Something I think might happen next is blank. I think this because blank. Another thing I think might happen next is, I think this because, what do you know? Why do you think this? So something I think might happen next is they will clean up the kitchen because they just ate dinner, right? I think this because they just ate dinner. They just finished dinner. And they need to clean up. So that's kind of how we make a prediction. We tell why we think they need to clean up. What do I know about when I eat dinner? I don't leave it sitting out on my counter. I pick it up and put it in the trash when we're done, and I put the dishes in the sink or in the dishwasher, right? We don't just leave everything out. And then another thing I think that might happen next is, so it doesn't have to be about dinner. What else have they been doing and what else do you think they might do and why do you think that? So go ahead and fill those 2 in and then we'll keep on reading. When it starts to get dark, take your grandma outside to find the first star. Back inside, snuggle up and read some books. Turn the pages slowly so she can find everything in the pictures. Ask your grandma for stories about when your mom was little. What was mom's favorite thing to do at the park? Did she ever get in trouble? Was her grandma as fun as you? Teach her how to say I love you without making a sound. Point to your eye, to your heart, and to her. Now let your grandma choose where she wants to sleep. Places to sleep. In a tent, on the floor, on the couch, in the little bed, in the big bed. If she asks, should we leave the nightlight on, the hall light on, the door open? Answer, yep, yep, yep. Once you're both tucked in, make shadow puppets. Have your shadow foxes kiss goodnight. If she's missing your mom and dad, tell her they'll be here tomorrow, bright and early. In the morning, when you hear a knock, open the door dressed up as twins. After you're all packed up, comes the hardest part, goodbye time. How to say goodbye to a grandma. Let her borrow some sprinkles, some books, some stickers, some ribbons. Say I love you without making a sound. Give her a big hug and ask, when can I babysit you again? The end. So now we're ready to do our visualize activity. So this is where we make our mind movie in our brains. Readers always think about how this story might look in their heads. Readers make a mind movie about what they are reading and they see the story in their heads. What do you think this part of the story might look like and why do you think this? I'm imagining the part in the story where blank is happening. I'm imagining it looks like blank. 3 things to describe this are blank, blank, blank. I think this part looks like this because. So let's go ahead. I need you to copy what I write on the first part. So I'm imagining the part in the story where the narrator and grandma are dressed as twins. So that's what you need to have on that first spot. I'm imagining the part in the story where the narrator and grandma are dressed as twins. So go ahead and copy this down if you don't have it. The, T-H-E, narrator, N-A-R-R-A-T-O-R, and A-N-D, grandma, G-R-A-N-D-M-A-R-A-R-E, dressed, D-R-E-S-S-E-D, as, A-S, twins, T-W-I-N-S. So that's what you should have here. So imagining the part where the narrator and grandma are dressed as twins is happening. I'm imagining it looks like. So what do you think this would look like? Funny, silly, crazy, weird, wacky? Like this is where you give me 1-word answers right here on this line. Down here, you're going to describe what you actually see. Like what are they wearing? What do you see with your eyes? So I see floppy purple hats. So they're wearing floppy purple hats, and that's what I see. What are some things that you see that they match? What are they wearing? So I think this part looks like this because what makes you think this? Like, think about, what do I know about grandmas? What do I know about twins? What do I know about matching each other, right? So those are the things you're going to fill in. Then you're going to come to the back part, and it says summarize. Readers think about the most important parts of a book. In your own words, give me a summary of the story you just listened to. So the story, so remember this tells me the title of the story goes here. So how to babysit a grandma talks about blank. And this tells me the characters go here. So the narrator and her grandma. In the beginning of the story, what's going on? In the middle of the story, what's going on? And at the end of the story, what's going on? So you're just kind of hitting the main parts to tell me. Pretend like I'm asking, I've never read this story, and you need to tell me, like, give me the general idea, but you don't want to give away the entire story, right? So that's what you will fill in here. Then down here, please make sure you do this. I'm noticing a lot of us are skipping it, and that's not a choice. You have to do this activity. So the way that we do this is we open up Google Classroom for our group color, and there's like at the very top, like when you open it and go in, it'll say like write something to, it'll have like your picture that you have, and then it'll say write something to your group or your class or whatever, and you click that and then it'll open up and you can type in there. So then you'll pick one of these options. You do not have to do both. You pick one and then you follow those instructions. So if you want to do making connections, you'll follow these instructions. Readers think about ways a book is similar to their own lives. You'll title the post Making Connections to How to Babysit a Grandma. And then you're going to write how the story connects to you. So did this story remind you of something that you've done in your life? What part of the story reminded you of your life? What part of the story reminded you of a separate book? Like connect it to something you've seen, something you've read, something you've heard. And don't forget to explain why you're making this connection. Like what happened to you and what happened in the story that go together. What is the connection? If you don't want to do that one, you can do story continued and you'll follow these instructions. Readers think about what might happen next if the book kept going. Title the post, How to Babysit a Grandma Continued. Then you're going to write about what might happen next in this story. So just remember the babysitting time ended. She asked when she could babysit Grandma again. So what do you think might happen next after that? Make sure that you don't write something that's already occurred in the story, because a lot of us have been doing that lately, and that's not continuing the story if it already happened in the story. So you're coming up with something that will happen after the ending. Once you finish this, make sure your name is on this and you can turn it in to me. Then you can work on any work that you have that's due by the end of this week. This is due by Friday. If it's not turned in by Friday, it will be Bear Zone. So make sure you get this finished. Then you can work on Lexia, IXL, you can do Epic, or you can read your book.